Are lying presidents no longer fashionable? Hello and welcome to another Tomorrow's World webcast. My name is Wallace Smith, and you may have seen Time magazine recently. Their cover, Is Truth Dead? Is actually sort of a take on their very famous cover of 1966, where they asked the same question about God. Is God dead? But this one asks, is truth dead? And as you might guess, given the current state of things, it's an article about President Donald Trump. The cover has a pretty nifty looking lie detector. I am not going to read the entire article. That would be a waste of our time. But let me just start it off because they do make a good point here, the author at the beginning. He writes, generations of American children have learned the apocryphal tale of a young George Washington bravely admitting to his father that he chopped down the cherry tree. The story sprang from a culture that wanted even its fables to serve the ideal of truth. By that standard, the House Intelligence Committee hearing on March 20th should have been a massive humiliation for the president, who followed Washington 228 years later. Now, I won't go into all the details, but essentially they're using the most recent House committee briefings to discuss this idea of a president, which Donald Trump seems to be by many accounts, who doesn't seem to have a great concern for truth, who just throws things out there when they come to the top of his head, or even possibly throws out misinformation. It's not just Time magazine. Others have followed up on this. The Wall Street Journal, for instance, had an interesting analysis of that very question recently. What do you do with a president whose standard for saying truthful things seems to be so different than what it was before? Now, I am not here to suddenly jump on the Donald Trump is a liar bandwagon, let alone the Make America Great bandwagon. We don't do political bandwagons at Tomorrow's World, but we do truth. And Donald Trump is very interesting because I actually addressed this in Tomorrow's World. I actually go back to 2009. I did a commentary on, and I've actually got it printed off right here, August 2009. It was actually August 8th. The title was, Hoping Your President is a Liar? Really? I tried to put some emotion into that. And it concerned a report in the Washington Post, an op-ed piece concerning President Obama and his position on gay marriage, quote unquote, same-sex marriage, quote unquote. And it was interesting, actually, I had noticed it because of a Wall Street Journal article. The title of the Washington Post article by James Kirchick was, Obama said, I don't. He may just mean it. But if you actually go look it up online, you'll see a different title. It says, James Kirchick, Don't Trust Obama on Gay Marriage. And let me just give you the gist of it. The gist of it is that the president at the time, President Obama, had gone on the record as saying he did not support same-sex marriages. Rather, he supported civil unions and that marriage should be reserved for a man and a woman. However, many homosexuals had voted for him assuming that he was lying, just taking for granted that he was not telling the truth. And the article goes into some detail about that. It talks about this old article in the Washington Post. It says, in a recent interview with Newsweek, gay playwright Tony Kushner spoke of Obama's secret belief in the righteousness of same-sex marriage as if it were painfully obvious. And he starts off with a word. The only way to pronounce this is as in he's just trying to say, yeah, whatever, that's crazy. Then he says, of course he's in favor of gay marriage. They just take it for granted. And Mr. Kirchick's article, when it says don't trust Obama on gay marriage, what they're saying is don't trust him to be lying. That is, you might actually have to believe the words he says. Now, eventually we have all this talk about Mr. Obama's changing, we say he was evolving on the topic. That is his point of view, as he says. And I'm not going to go into whether or not he was actually lying or not. I really want to focus on the actual people, the American people. That we should not be surprised if truth is a dead concept that we just don't care about anymore, if we had presidents that we were voting for hoping they would be liars. Hoping that as the president, in this case President Obama, was standing before the world saying, I don't support homosexual marriage. Rather, I think they should have civil unions. I don't think there should be gay marriage. Marriage should be between a man and a woman. When his constituents are saying, don't worry, He's lying. We can count on him to be lying. Is lying in a president no longer fashionable? What's going on? It's because nobody really cares about truth anymore. Not anymore. It's only when the lies bother us that we care. When the lies do a service to us, we seem to be all for it. That is wrong. You know, the Bible prophetically describes a time in the book of Isaiah, chapter 59 and verse 14, when it says, "For truth has fallen in the street." For people to be complaining now about lying amongst our leadership, look, I'm not saying don't complain about it. What I'm saying is we need to look a whole lot further back than just the most recent election. Thanks for watching. I hope you'll watch everything we have available at tomorrowsworld.org.